Excellent. So, Vipul, welcome to the Interstellar podcast. Super happy to have you here. Really excited to have a chat to you today. But maybe just for the audience and everyone watching, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Sirion and Sirion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tyson. It's indeed a privilege to be here. Thanks a lot for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to this conversation with you, Tyson. So my name is Vipul Sahni. I am SVP and Global Head SI Alliances at Sirion. I lead partnerships covering system integrators and consulting services firms to drive enterprise growth and innovation in the CLM space. Now, Sirion is a leading AI native contract lifecycle management platform that helps enterprises store, create, and manage contracts with greater intelligence, confidence, and control. Sirion supports more than 7 million contracts across over 100 languages for the world's leading enterprises. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know Sirion now top of the Gartner, so you're number one, which is an amazing achievement. And I know you and I work really closely together, but I'm really fascinated in just people's daily habits. So, what is a day in the life for Vipul Sahni look like? Conscious, I know maybe some days are different, but what's your daily schedule from the moment you wake up through to the moment you put your head down, typically?
That's an interesting question. So the days are not very different from each other, but my focus has kind of slightly changed in the way I want to spend my hours in a day. I'm trying to get more closer to the partners that I'm working with rather than working purely on operations and numbers and meeting targets. The idea is to basically spend as much quality time, talk to them, meet them in person, and work towards more deeper partnership. So the day probably starts with some of these conversations that which are already scheduled, some of the ad hoc conversations over tea or coffee during the day with some of the partners. Alongside, also start spending a lot more time with my in-house sales teams, the GTM teams, the sales, inside sales, marketing, pre-sales, and understand that how potentially they feel that the partner ecosystem that I'm trying to build for my company is going to help them. So there would be some conversations during the day with the internal in-house cross-functional teams at Sirion. So yeah, that's the kind of the day. It starts easily around 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And goes till around 10 p.m. in the evening. But yeah, a very fulfilling role and fulfilling time. And I'm always looking to a new day, next day to start it again.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been amazed, Stella and Sirian are working really closely together, but um, it's definitely closer than any other partner in terms of the day-to-day interaction and I guess the detail we get into on each opportunity and each project and things like that. I mean, one of the things I was thinking about this year is, the rise of the agent, essentially. And we've been closely seeing how you've been adopting agentic capabilities, and seeing where they add value. How do you think we can achieve a fine balance between the human and AI? Mm.
That's a very interesting questions, right? Balance between humans and AI. And this is actually one of the most important questions that enterprises are asking right now. And honestly, contract management is actually one of the best lenses through which to explore it because contracts sit at the intersection of obligations, legal, commercial, risk, human judgment, and also operational efficiency. So there are some ways possibly we can try to achieve this balance. The biggest mistake, honestly, enterprise make is deploying agents with too much autonomy too soon. Probably the right balanced model is graduated delegation where agents start in an advisory role, humans observe and correct, and autonomy expands only as an accuracy and reliability are demonstrated over a period of time. And
Hmm.
please note, auditability, I think, is the foundation and not an afterthought. That's where there's a lot of error that happens. For humans to trust agents, they need to be able to see why a decision was made, not just what was decided. This means every agent actions should be auditable to the source. And finally, I would say to remember that governance is not a constraint on AI. It's what makes AI scalable. The goal is human augmentation and not human replacement. The most
Hmm.
successful implementations reframe the questions entirely, right? What can an agent do instead of a person is the wrong question. What can a person do and accomplish with an agent that they could not do alone is absolutely the right question to ask for.
So where where do you think is the biggest misconceptions companies or enterprises are having about AI and contracting at the moment?
I think the biggest misconception in my mind is that they believe that AI is a replacement for expertise. It is not a
Hmm.
replacement for expertise. The best AI in contracting makes an expert more dramatically productive. It handles more volume, do better pattern matching, but the judgment, the read on the relationship, the decision to hold firm or concede on a clause, the sense that something is commercially off, even if it is legally clean, that still requires a person, a human.
Hmm. Hmm.
Companies
Hmm.
that approach AI as a way to reduce headcount will miss the point entirely. Companies that approach it as a way to make their existing experts 10 times more effective, they are the ones seeing the real results.
Yeah. Um, I think you and I have both been in the CLM contract life cycle management game for a number of years, and I feel like there's the I guess the problem that we're always trying to solve in terms of get to a deal faster, be able to find your contracts more easily, and then manage those contracts post signature have kind of always maybe been the three areas that build a business case internally. Um, where do you, I mean, it's pretty clear that AI is changing the game for that. And so I guess my question is, have you seen customers benefiting from AI and contract management that you haven't really seen, pre-AI? Because in my mind, and I don't want to answer the question for you, but this is like a really amazing time in history where we're really seeing that the true benefits of CLM being able to be realized. So yeah, so where have you seen the benefits of AI in contract management?
See, technology has drastically improved over a period of time, right? And
Mm.
the way contracts can be actually be assessed, be read, be broken up into pieces. That advancement is absolutely very, very clear and very, very visible to the customers. And there are a lot of case studies even for Sirion, right? So for Sirion, customers can simply talk to their contracts and get the work done. They can tell what they need, write in simple English work, and the agents in the background can almost act autonomously. User will just ask, and the system will make things happen for you. So it's not just a quick and smart repository. Even the policies are translated into smarter templates. Obligation management, and that's where the rubber hits the road, right? A lot of contracts are just created in the system. But at least we are watching that now customers have started realizing that actual value or return on investment comes in when we do the post signature or actually see the contract getting executed on the system. So obligations and risk are getting surfaced with explainable reasoning to the source of them. Performance is continuously monitored. Almost no manual intervention most of the times on these things are needed these days. So customers are definitely getting a lot of benefit in multiple ways. Obviously, faster time to value, higher confidence in whatever data they are seeing. The results are definitely better efficiency and quicker decision making across the life cycle of the contract, not just till execution, but also the post execution while the performance is being done and managed against the SLAs, against the obligations, commitments being made in the contracts.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's something that's always been the differentiator for Sirion, right? Is that actually even from AJ's early days, he really focused on the bigger part of the life cycle of a contract around obligations management, and then went the other way, left into drafting, negotiation, and pre-signature, which I thought was always really obvious to me, but then maybe not so obvious to the customers or those that are choosing Sirion. So do you think in general across CLM we're starting to see the trend that that obligation component is really important, or do you think we're still solving the document problem but not the obligation problem?
Right. We are still solving in a lot of cases just the document problem and
Yeah,
not really the obligation problem. So that's a reality. Even though even in the lot of sales cycle, we are demonstrating the real value add in terms of actually managing the performance against the obligations and commitments being made in the contracts and how Sirion can actually get the right value realization out of the investment that customers are making.
yeah,
But when the actual implementation start, it is more about getting the right repository in place, right structure of the contracts in place, and then getting the right authoring tool in place with the right templates, etc., and approval workflows being defined. And then the contracts after signature go and sit in the repository. So nobody's really tracking what is happening with those terms and conditions already got signed. So has it gotten better in the last few years? Yes, absolutely yes, because now it's not just a legal team that is trying to basically get more efficient at what they're doing, but also the business has started realizing that if they do not look at the value leakage that is happening through all the missed renewals, auto renewals, sometimes they don't even know if they can charge a premium or they have to pay a penalty or be prepared for something like that. All
yeah.
of that value leakages are being realized by a lot of customers. But is it like a global phenomena? Not yet, but we are definitely positioning for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe just switching tracks a little bit because I know in the early days that there was AI attached to Sirion as well, and that there still is today, and it feels so embedded to everything that Sirion has been part of. You cannot have a conversation today with anyone without mentioning AI, and there's a lot of talk about what it can and can't do, and the trust aspect of AI. So, how do you ensure that legal and procurement teams can confidently trust the suggestion that your platform gives? And do you want to give us a little bit of insight into that?
Uh, so the trust factor is where the technology is definitely getting improved over a period of time, right? And the kind of feedback that the customers are giving us while they're using our technology, they are definitely seeing an improvement. Even for the same customer 6 months ago and today, they are getting much better outcome from the tech that they're using. Whether it is just purely for extracting the intelligence from the contracts for various reasons, or during negotiation, and now with the auto redlining feature that we have, and issue detection and risk identification during authoring or post execution of the contracts on an ongoing basis. So all of that is definitely getting much more accurate. Now, does it give a 100% outcome? No.
Hmm.
Did it ever give a 100% outcome? Probably no, because at the end of the day, it's going to work against a playbook. That playbook can get better over a period of time. Tech can get better over a period of time and be more consistent and will not hallucinate anymore. But still, there needs to be a person who understands that in this particular situation, what is the right motivation to move forward or concede on a particular clause, and because what is the exact situation with the particular customer or counterparty, what is the market situation. So there needs to be that level of human presence to analyze the situation and the context, and maybe that intuitive power is so important and will be even more important here onwards. But it does give a lot of speed and a lot of faster outcomes to the customers.
Yeah, it's an incredibly interesting space, and I guess everyone's looking for that competitive advantage. Just to your personal opinion, what's more dangerous, do you think, over trusting the AI or underutilizing it?
So, I think over trusting is probably the one I'll have to choose if I have to choose one, because both of them have their pros and cons. One of them, if it is about over trusting, is going to actually create short-term problems immediately overnight, and it will do it at a scale which would be unimaginable if you start just believing anything and everything that an AI product is shipping out to you. So that's an immediate damage that may happen. But in the long term, when you underutilize it in 3 to 5 years, you will be left behind. And that's where the balance comes into the picture, right? So there's a short term and long term, but if it has to be chosen one, over trusting would something to should be careful about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the whole hallucination component is fascinating to me. I think the other component as well, I think, is around, I always wonder if it's kind of all going into a large language model, is the results that you get so diluted, that you're maybe not getting that I guess that judgment call that an individual would make. Um, so where do you just personally feel uncomfortable letting AI take over?
See, AI taking over judgment part is always going to be the tricky part, right? Can the
Yeah,
AI recommend? Absolutely, yes. Should we leave the judgment to AI? That is something that we should be absolutely be careful about, especially in the large scale enterprises with high value decisions. I
yeah.
am not sure the enterprises should be or will be uh, willing to basically trust an AI outcome in that particular in those particular situations. Yes, low risk, high volume, absolutely, but we have to be definitely be careful about, and that's what I would say that I'll be careful personally.
Hmm.
Don't trust AI with large scale decisions. I mean, it's as simple as that. I moved between countries a couple of months ago with my family. I wouldn't leave that decision to an AI to tell me what should be done. There is a lot of context behind it, and where to go, which place in the new country to go. All of that is something I can take recommendations, but then there is a lot of contextual situation, and that also goes with any business situation as well to be careful about.
I think I do remember us having lunch last year, and you talking about the move that you were making from India to the UK, and how you did. You gave all your requirements of what you wanted in, to make your family really happy, and then where a good place for the kids to go to school, and for you to be able to commute and live a great life. Just, do you want to kind of explain how you used it there, and like how that helped you? And then also maybe what I'm also interested to find out is, you've moved from India to Europe. What made you choose between the US and Europe, and how has that made an impact just to your role? I'd love to know about. Are you seeing the benefit of it already?
No, absolutely. So I'll take the second one first, that the reason and the logic behind this movement was very professional and business oriented. I had to be closer to my partners because almost 90% of our business is coming from US and Europe, and they are our key markets. So, and I am in a relationship business, and if I am like sitting remotely and doing everything remotely on phone and video or audio calls, it's only going to create challenges in long-term partnerships. So
Hmm.
and then I had to move and come closer to my partners and be in a place where I can meet them more frequently and also cover multiple time zones and the important time zones. In that sense, yeah, US and Europe were the two options. In that, it was pretty straightforward. UK gives better coverage in terms of the time zone for my particular role from Australia to US in a reasonable kind of time period. I'm able to cover all these particular time zones. And it is closer to India, so going back and taking care of my parents back home, there's a psychological impact and advantage as well. So yeah, that was the reason. And coming to the tech, yes, I did create a big, huge project on a public open source software about how do I go about this transition. I took a lot of help, and some of those ideas were so useful because if you ask a particular individual about the same answer, they will always be biased towards what they have done in their lives.
Yeah.
And they would say positive things about only that, and everything else would probably be secondary. But a project like that on an LLM is little lesser biased. So I got very useful information, but did I trust all of it? I took all of the recommendations, but then did my own judgment call thereafter.
How accurate was the LLM to this open source to where you ended up?
Right. I mean, I did a lot of research on schools, the rating of schools, the ranking of schools, the areas to live in for kids, for safety, the crime in the area. And to do all of this in such a short span of time, in matter of hours, sitting back home in India without even making a visit to UK at all, it was literally impossible 2, 3 years ago, is what I'll say. So I would say it was easily 60, 70% accurate. But that kind of accuracy coming in matter of couple of hours of effort online is something really, really useful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating for me how, because I'm planning a similar move at the moment, and actually I was thinking about you and the approach you took, and we're taking a similar approach to our move as well. So, first of all, thank you for the little tip, and I'll let you know how accurate this open source is on my move. Maybe in the next podcast. But maybe switching back to just the tool itself just for a minute. Like one thing that has really impressed me since the early days, we've been a big fan, is that the outcomes you get specifically from Sirion. So when customers choose Sirion, what are the tangible outcomes you've seen, and is there any specific stories that you can kind of tell in regards to how it's really changed the outcome for some customers?
No, absolutely, absolutely. See, we are growing year on year substantially and adding more and more customers. The thing that we are definitely very, very proud of as a company is obviously the tech and the product, but much more importantly, the satisfaction of the customers that we have. We firmly believe that there is nothing more important than customer satisfaction and customer realizing the value out of the investment that they're making and getting a good experience while realizing that. So that's way more important to us than anything else. So we define the success criteria with individual customers during the sales life cycle itself with the mutually agreeable outcomes and then kind of follow it up during the implementations. Most of the implementations are done by our partners, rather almost all of them, who are trained, trusted advisors, and they design the system and deliver it to our end customers. Now, coming to the tangible outcomes, see, easily enterprise contracting life cycle is anywhere between 24 to 30 weeks it takes to complete, involving almost more than 80 friction points during that life cycle of contract. Within AI native CLM platform like Sirion, this 24 to 30 weeks period literally gets reduced to matter of few days. Now, beyond this, the legal and business teams generally see almost 80% reductions in supplier disputes because of the way the contracts are structured and less risk prone and error prone. Almost 60 to 70% savings in manual effort during and after execution of the contracts, and 50% lesser contract turnaround time, as I mentioned, right? So these are the key areas that obviously customers start seeing immediate values. I mean, so if you ask for some of the case studies, customers in some of the IT industries or consulting services industries have started, finally they found a software or a SaaS CLM application which is able to do the proper obligation management for their sell side commercial contracts, which historically has been seen as something not doable by the available technologies on CLM in the market. We have done that pretty remarkably for, I would say, the top three, four IT services companies in the world globally.
Hmm.
In the telecom space, on the procurement side, we have kind of accomplished real value realization and value leakage identification and helping bridge all of that over a period of time in the last 5, 7 years for multiple telecom providers. There are many case studies, happy to share more as needed, but we definitely are very happy with the tangible outcomes that our customers are realizing.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, I've always been really, really impressed with once it's implemented right, the outcomes that you get as a customer. I think I was speaking to one customer that on average, there's contract cycle time for two or three contract types that we were looking at that time was more than 300 days. And like you were saying, it went down to, I think, something like 25 to 30 days. And that's just a massive reduction that you can get from a tool like this with automation and reducing the number of turns and negotiation and things like that. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, as a partner, I know this. It's incredibly hard, the work that we do. Like implementing these tools, is actually really, really hard. And many teams have implemented CLM but still, I guess, struggle with the visibility and the control and the cycle time, and like we see also sometimes quite a big lack of governance around these tools as well. Like, and I see everyone's really quick to kind of blame the technology, right? It's the tool's fault and things like that. So, I guess, where do you see the gap between technology capability, and the operational reality, I guess, today?
Right. No, we do understand, we realize that a lot of CLM implementations are seen as not meeting the key success criteria defined by the customers, or at least what they felt what success would mean to them eventually after the implementation or a period after the implementation. But though I would love to say that we are the best tech in the world and we are able to solve all the challenges which are not solvable by some of the other tech, but in not all the cases, gap is the technology. Tech is not the gap in most of the cases where these realizations do not happen on the value. The problem is that the assumption that tech is the answer itself is one problem that we are seeing in the market. CLM vendors like us comes and sell the idea of visibility into contracts, controlling the contract, speed of the contracting, and honestly, most of the tech can deliver all these three that I just mentioned around visibility, control, and speed. But what actually happened in most of the deployments, the tool goes in and the process does not change. The process of contracting still remains the same. Contracts are still getting routed by email. Approvals still happen in someone's inboxes. The CLM application becomes a place where you upload things after the real work is happening somewhere else. So you do
Hmm.
get visibility into what's in the repository, but you do not get visibility into what's actually happening in the business around contracting. Now, cycle times are also a clear symptom of this. Companies invested substantial amount in CLM, but their contract cycle times are not changing or not reducing because the bottleneck sometimes is not drafting. It was waiting for right approval, waiting for clarity on a business term, waiting for legal bandwidth. AI does not solve a queuing problem for you, right? It does
Hmm.
not fix unclear ownership. It does not fix the fact that nobody agreed on what standard actually means before the tool went live. Operational reality is that CLM implementations were traditionally treated as IT projects, but the companies that really are getting value out of it have treated them as business transformation projects. And that
Yeah.
distinction is very imminent.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that. And we've done more than 150 of these CLM implementations, and I've seen it firsthand. Like I think you kind of touched on two really kind of key components there. One, which is the process engineering component, along with the technology implementation, and then the second one I think, which touches on behaviors around and change management, which is it's still sitting in your inbox, and everyone's doing everything to kind of go outside of the tool and outside of the wonderful work and that the team has done in implementing the solution. So, how important it is, do you think, to prepare for a CLM implementation? And what would be the top three or four things that you think people should consider prior to starting a CLM project to be ready?
Very important to be jumping right into a CLM implementation, assuming it's more of a tech implementation, is one of the biggest cause of customers not realizing the value out of the CLM implementations. So
Yeah.
operational redesigning is a very key component and should definitely not be ignored, rather should be the number one priority. Now we need to define where are the contracts sitting, where do contracts actually slow down the business, where does risk genuinely live, and who's accountable for outcomes and not just accountable for process. That operating model conversation, I mean, it is uncomfortable. It involves stakeholders who do not naturally agree with each other, but it is absolute priority. Then
Hmm.
bring in the tech after you have designed and understood that what is your to-be model going to be like. The tech will actually support what you have designed. AI native CLM comes in when you know what you need to track and govern. Agents come in when you have enough clean process and clean data for it to reason and act on something real. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's how I'll see that. And most of the sponsors or buyers or general counsels or CPOs, procurement heads, they really spend the first 60 to 90 days in not buying anything. They're actually mapping, aligning, and getting organizational commitments. But people who are failing are actually sitting and watching demos of the tech around in the first 30 days itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Um, Interstellar is just around the corner. It's here in Lisbon. It's something we've been working on for a really long time, and we're really excited about it. What are you most excited about right now in this space, in terms of legal and procurement?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Interstellar is around. We are very excited. In general, we are very excited with the way market is moving. And as far as coming to an event like Interstellar, I'm definitely looking to have honest conversations with people around what are the pain points, what is keeping them awake in the night, what does value realization really mean to them, and have honest conversations sitting over there. Because otherwise, most of the people are talking more aspirational stuff that this is what I would like to have, but they are generally hiding their fears, the true fears that is keeping them awake or keeping the stress alive in them. That needs to be discussed. So that will give me a lot of visibility into how we can kind of work towards solving some of those key consistent patterns that customers are seeing. So I'm definitely looking forward to be there. I'll be there for the ideas, for the people, and the various possibilities that the new age legal tech has to offer.
I think you touched on a really interesting follow-up question, which would be maybe what conversations is the industry not having, honestly, you think?
See, as I was talking about, the real conversations are going to be when people start talking about what are the pain points that they are really genuinely trying to solve. What does value realization mean to them? What keeps them awake at night? And what are they really uncertain about? What risks have they seen kind of not being recognized or realized? And what value leakages are really happening? Do they really understand the difference between executing and what actually running a contract on the system mean, the obligation management, performance management, and AI will definitely come on top of that. The problem is that in a lot of these conference settings, people are just performing and showcasing that they are so confident about. I am looking forward to talking to people who are coming and saying that, oh, I don't know, I am surprised, I want to basically improve. So that those kind of conversations which are generally do not happening, I want to look forward to having it in Interstellar.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why we've really aligned in terms of a partnership, right? Because that's exactly the thing that we're looking to achieve from Interstellar is to kind of, I guess, surface those conversations to bring us all forward. And yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really happy about that. I think over the last, month or so, and even over the last year, we've seen, you know, Claude, OpenAI, Google, potentially knocking on the door of the industry, which is legal. Last week we had the webinar from Claude with when they really kind of firmly, for the first time, going into the legal space. I'm really interested in, maybe this is an AJ question, or if you can't answer it, but if OpenAI or Google or Claude decided directly to go into your space, what would be the move?
No, absolutely. And we are looking forward to that. It's always great to have the best of the tech moving towards the space we are in, and tangentially or directly touching it. It's amazing. It actually validates the category that we are in. What would be our move, right? Our move is to go even deeper. Our differentiation is depth, and it will remain depth, right? OpenAI, Google, all the others around the same are going to be building horizontal. We are building vertical. There is a meaningful difference between a general purpose model that can handle contract tasks and a platform built from the ground up for enterprise contract management with the workflow integrations, the security architecture, the audit trails, obligation intelligence, the partner ecosystem that we have created to deploy all of that. Enterprise buyers are not choosing the best AI. They're choosing the best outcome. And outcomes in enterprise contract management comes from depth. And that is where we are winning, and we are very confident that we'll continue to do much better in the future as well.
Yeah, interesting. Um, do you think then that this rise of AI makes experts more valuable, or do you think there's a threat in terms of being obsolete now that knowledge is so easily attainable with these models?
I would definitely like to believe that they are going to make the experts more valuable, but may not be automatically. See, I think that here's the distinction. AI makes judgment more valuable and process less valuable for the people to contribute to. If your expertise is essentially procedural, I know the right steps, I know which clauses to check, that expertise is replicable by a well trained model. We need to accept that as a reality. But if your expertise is judgment, I can read a situation. I understand what this counterparty actually cares about. What is the context? What is the market situation? I know when the legal answer and the right answer diverge. That becomes more valuable because it's now operating on a higher quality information base with the LLMs, with the AI coming in, which was never available before. So experts who adapt are definitely not going to be obsolete.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree. I think it actually kind of goes a little bit to the purpose of coming to a lawyer, right? Which is to solve complex problems, and 100% agree that the task orientated steps will probably get a lot more efficient with AI and potentially disappear. I guess in terms of autonomous use cases, we're seeing it a lot more and more. For a number of years now, it's been a reliance on legal teams to become more self-service, to reduce the workload that comes into the teams, to I guess work on the more strategic offerings to the business and things like that. I mean, in contracting specifically, where is AI genuinely delivering measurable impact today? And where do you think it still has a way to go and is probably overhyped at the moment?
See, The AI has definitely started creating impact in contracting, especially in contract review, redlining. There are real hours that are getting saved, real consistently in applying the playbooks, measurable cycle time reduction in negotiation phase, legacy contract analysis, organizations that had thousands of contracts nobody had properly read now have actual portfolio intelligence. And the risk flagging during authoring and post signature has improved drastically. Also, proactive obligation extraction, moving beyond just finding expiration date, AI is actively monitoring complex nested obligations, pushing that data to downstream systems like the CRM or ERP. This prevents revenue leakage and transforms the contracts from a static document into an active operational tool. Also, autonomous negotiation, right? The idea that an agent can negotiate commercial terms on your behalf without meaningful oversight, that is probably that we need to be careful about. We are definitely not yet there in terms of the trust that we can put on autonomous negotiation. Are we at risk of basically uh, trusting too much on the AI? That is where we need to be careful about, and we need to be balancing both the things. So yeah, that's what it is. So there is a lot of value add, but there is a little bit more way to go in terms of improvising on autonomous contracting in absolute absence of a human.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting space to be. Like, I still think that there's some components, and I think you were touching on it before around judgment, where, taste and intuition and creativity still gets deals done that you potentially can't get in terms of a model and things like that. Maybe switching gears a little bit just to something more personal. You know, you've had a really, really interesting career. I do wonder, and I don't think I've ever asked you this question before, given that we've spent a lot of time together. Did you first of all ever imagine you would be in legal and in this space? And was it always something that you wanted to do? And then maybe the question actually I was going to ask is, what would you, reflecting back on your journey, your personal journey, what would you say to your fresh out of high school younger self in anything you would change?
Uh, that's such a interesting conversation, Tyson. So my journey, my professional journey, it may look like a career strategy now, that where I am, what I'm doing, which country I am in, my role, etc. But honestly, it really didn't start out knowing what I wanted to be, right? I never thought that I'll be even be in alliances or even in enterprise software. I made a lot of lateral moves that looked like deviations from the routine at that time. The roles that were not glamorous, markets that were tough, a few bets that honestly did not pay off also. But that's actually where I learned how partnerships work. Not in good times, but when things get hard and the commercial logic gets tested. The polished version sounds like a plan, but the real version was more like learning to navigate uncertainty and discovering what you're actually good at along the way of this journey. So, yeah, I mean, that is what has made me, and I would definitely love to tell the people also that do not try to connect all the dots all the time. Go with the intuition that you're having, support. And show recognition of your intuitive power, which everybody has. So yeah, I mean that has made me what I am. On a personal life also, I would definitely would say that I suffered a big personal life loss at the age of 18 when I was 18. And that taught me the meaning of life and what is loss of life, right? And more importantly, having or losing your loved ones in your life. So that made me a lot more spiritual, believing in the power of karma, believing in power of trusted friendships in life. So that keeps me stable and balanced, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess I really love, I don't know if you've ever seen that Steve Jobs Stanford address where he kind of talks about, remembering you're gonna die one day is the best way to live your life or something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but I've been through something similar and definitely kind of I guess maybe not living every day like it's your last, because I probably would not be alive if I did that. But I guess just definitely trying to live the best way you can and be a great human, I think is something that you need to do for your family as well.
And probably that
Uh,
is why we are doing so well as partners because we have a similar belief system and the value system, and that is what creates good partnerships. Because I firmly believe partnerships are not created on a piece of paper. It is
yeah,
beyond that, and really looking forward to having a long-standing partnership with you. But yeah, please go ahead, Tyson.
yeah, no, I agree. Like I think I'm from Australia originally, spent most of my career working with other cultures and things like that. And I actually kind of believe that India is a fascinating culture and super, super deep in terms of values and things like that. And I'm kind of just building on this question. Um, I guess even me personally, when I started to work in other countries, whether it was from New Zealand or to the US or to the UK and parts of Europe, Northern Europe, Southern Europe, etc. It's always fascinating to me the nuances, and sometimes rocky starts, but then maybe realizing that you do all still have very very similar values in that way. Like, did you think it's been challenging for a company like Sirion to obviously originate in India and then have such amazing success in across the US and Europe, which is probably your largest customer base? And do you think, what did Sirion, what have you observed Sirion have to do, either in trade-offs or changes in direction to kind of get that success?
Thank you for asking that question, Tyson. Honestly, I do not believe that Sirion has basically built something which is drastically different. A lot of very successful tech companies do start in India and then spread closer to the market that they are selling. So we are definitely not the first one in that. We are very successful in that when we have accomplished that pretty consistently over the last decade or close to 15 years now. Now, with the recent heavy investment coming in from a PE company in Sirion, it's called Haveli Investment. There is definitely a very focused approach towards getting even closer to the customers. So that is something that we are very much aware about, and we are working towards that. That is definitely also leveraged through our partner ecosystem as of today, but we still need to ensure that we are part of the customer life cycle all through the customers connection with us, right? So we'll definitely invest in that part of the business across geographies globally, from Australia, Europe to US. We'll have local presence to be closer to our customers. So that was not a challenge. I think running things from India was always beneficial to the overall talent that we had
Yeah,
back home. So that helped.
yeah. And how much do you think the culture has played a role in that success? Because I do feel like, you're right. There's been many Indian companies that have paved the way before you. That is almost like a well-trodden road I guess, to follow to have that success in the US and Europe. But do you think there was lessons learnt that were passed down on how to solve some of those challenges? Because one of the things even I've observed is Americans love to buy off Americans, British love to buy off the British, even Aussies love to buy off Aussies, and I've always been amazed how companies that originate in India and the same for China to some extent have that success in being able to do that without having to kind of invest in heavy local teams in the beginning. Um, but do you think culture has changed, has played a big role in that? Just in the way that you have those beliefs?
Absolutely. Culture is key for a company to have survived 15 years and be so successful and be number one in whatever we are doing in the market right now. It absolutely starts from the top. And Ajay, our CEO and the founder chairman, has always believed the fact that we are not a single country company. We are a multinational company. We were always multinational. The people who were hired were also hired with this mindset that they are able to see themselves as being part of a multinational company. So where we find talent, it was happening to be in India, but eventually we did hire a lot of people in Europe and US. As far as you said, right, traditionally people do like to buy from the people who they are able to make closer connect with. So that is why we have sales team across all these territories, multiple exhaustive, large sales teams and GTM teams present in all these countries. As I said, now we are definitely investing in customer success teams in all these countries, not just the primary countries or the big geographies like US, Europe, but also in Middle East. We have invested significantly with our local presence over there. So we understand the power of localization in that sense geographically, and then the center of the R&D can be in one place because those people are better together than separated out by miles in terms of distance. So all in all, a very consistent direction towards being a multi-geography, multinational product company and being closer to the customers always.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very more global approach, to be honest, than a company that tends to originate in America and then expand to the rest of the globe, which is something that has kind of like really impressed me. Maybe just to kind of maybe wrap up, just maybe some final questions. I guess, maybe what is a decision that you've made personally, recently that has challenged you?
Yeah, I mean, personally, definitely changing country was challenging. But I think that will be it will take a long time if I start getting into the details of that. But importantly, on the professional side, I recently started investing in partners to co-build industrialized CLM solutions, right, between our SI partner ecosystem and Sirion. So that has been something that has was challenging to kind of decide and now accomplish and execute because it's very interesting and it is very futuristic. See, opening up not just our implementation mechanisms to partners, but have them be part of our inner circle of the R&D team to actually co-build agentic CLM is something that's how we see the future of this partnership with a lot of our partners globally. This will lead to market-ready verticalized solutions, use cases ready to be consumed by our end customers, selling to them with or through our SI partner ecosystem and implementing obviously by them. So yeah, that's something that was challenging, but we have accomplished it. We are working towards it, and we'll make it pretty successful.
Excellent. So, any final words that you'd like to pass on to the audience that you didn't get a chance to say?
See, final thing that I would like to add is from the CLM point of view, it is extremely critical to see it as a business transformation exercise. Please do not try to replicate what you already have on a new tech which you're investing in. It does not give the right outcomes which are expected out of such an investment. Tech is not going to solve the internal process problem if you replicate exactly the same processes which were not working earlier. And on the AI side, what I would love to add again is that please do not see AI as a headcount reduction possibility, right? It is to basically increase the coverage and the confidence with the existing team that you are having rather than reducing headcount. So the same people can actually be 10x productive rather than reducing the headcount by a fraction of 10. So that's how I see it. I hope it resonates with a lot of audience around. But thank you so much, Tyson.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks so much, Vipul. It's been fantastic having a chat. It's been really fascinating to hear a little bit about your story, and yeah, we're really excited about our partnership with Sirion, and yeah, can't wait to see you in Lisbon for Interstellar.
It has been a privilege here to spend this hour with you, Tyson, and it has been an amazing partnership between Stella and Sirion. I'm sure we are going to see amazing days ahead together. So thank you so much and all the very best for Interstellar.
Excellent. Thank you.